guys! Welcome back
to Mom's channel.
Woohoo! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here because today we're going to do my first ever craft YouTube video. So I went ahead and showed you guys step by step on how you can create this exact sign. So this is clearly for school pictures if you have kiddos or grandkids or even just to gift to somebody. But you can of course use any of the tips and tricks that I included in this video to customize your own wooden piece. I really don't want to leave this intro too long because I did include a lot of clips. Clearly the video is already done, so I'm just doing the intro now. So I don't want to make this too lengthy, but just make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button if you want to make sure that you see any future craft videos. Sorry if you hear guys screaming, but and comment what you think of the actual video of this video. If you like this project, if you like craft things, DIY, reusing different, I don't know, I just like to repurpose all different kinds of stuff. I'm a penny pincher, so anything that I can do to just, you know, save a little cash, I would like to include that here on YouTube, but I want to know if that's something you guys would be interested in watching. And then of course, hit that like button if you like the video. So I will leave all my social media handles down below, so if you do decide to redo this craft on your own, make sure that you take pictures, tag me, post them, all that kind of stuff. I would love to see what you guys come up with. I love seeing, like, going on Pinterest and getting other people's designs, because you never know, you take a little from here, a little from there, people think of a bunch of different ways to do different things that you might not think of yourself. So that's all I have for you. Thank you guys so much for all the support and the encouragement throughout these first beginning videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you enjoy. So before getting started, I want to give you guys a little glimpse into how I organize my supplies. It's kind of a organized mess. I actually just organized it, so it's just all kind of like cluttered on this shelf. But it's what I have right now. But I actually used a makeup organizer, so if you're looking for organizing anything random like this, makeup organizer is a good little hack. I got this one from like TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I don't know, it was just an extra one I had. But before you stain, your wood is obviously going to be raw, so you want to get some sandpaper. These are just a bunch of random scraps that I've had that I just threw in here, so nothing too gritty and nothing too soft. Literally, you just want to round off the edges to make sure that nothing catches in your finger, no splinters or anything like that. So you want all the edges smooth, and I even go over the face of the wood to make sure that that's also smooth before staining. So another thing you're going to want to grab is some gloves. These are just some latex gloves. These were like, there's 12. I think this was like $2 at Walmart. And then as for the actual staining part, you can use a paintbrush to stain. I usually don't use those. I don't really even, these are extras that I had, which explains why they're outside and not inside with the rest of my stuff. I like to use these rags. Again, a super cheap option. I just have them all rolled up. I told you, organized mess. But I like to use these, just dip them right into the stain. And last time when I did a whole round, there was like 12 signs. I got really messy and got this all in, so I ended up just tossing it. But usually I will reuse one rag because they're quite big. I'll reuse this same rag many times. They harden and get a little bit crusty, but I just kind of will like use this spot to start off and then move over, so you get more uses out of one single rag instead of just tossing it. But now let me get you into the stain. Clearly I have a little bit of a supply, not too much, but these are actually the two stains that I've only tried. So this is Minwax, and then these are the Rust-Oleum. Let's see if I get it to focus. Wood stain. So these are obviously smaller ones, but I'm going to open one up. This is the one that I actually use for, let me see if I can get this to focus. This one, the dark walnut. I don't know why it won't focus, but if I get a little bit back it goes. So it's dark walnut 2716. Let me just get this out of this little tower I have here. I'll open it up so you guys can see. Okay, so as you saw, to pop this open, you're just going to want to grab one of these little, I don't even know what this is called, a scraper of some sort, just that can wedge in between there, between the lid and the actual can. Or you can also just use a hammer. That works. You just do the opposite end where you would like pull out nails and just pop that right in. I'm sure most of you guys know how to open a dang can, but if you don't, there you go. So I'm just going to give you a little look. There's not really much to show, but this is a super dark stain. So it is, again, the Dark Walnut 2716. And there you go. So some extra look into just the extra things, things that I have here that you could use just to help you get by, make things a little bit easier. I actually usually don't use these just because it is more of a pain in the butt. I'd rather just stain a table or something, honestly. But these are just little stands that you can place out. You can do, like, I suggest doing like 4, even 5, put one in the center, and then all you do is just take your wood and just like place it on top so it doesn't sit and stain whatever you have your wood sitting on. Again, I just have like outside table, so it's not a big deal to me. These are little pads that you can wipe off any of the excess, like when after you sand everything down, and instead of wiping it down with your hand, you can use this, just because the extra, I don't know, like powder from sanding it, that basically takes that off, so it's super clear. These, I don't really know honestly what they are. I think that I used them as sandpaper. I'm gonna actually toss them, but because they were already shown in the beginning clip, I'm gonna show you them now, but they didn't work very well. So if you go to Home Depot or whatever, they look like this. This is where I got it from there. Actually it was Lowe's, but I can't focus because I don't know why it won't do it, but you can see like there's sand for the actual sandpaper, and then it went away. So I would not suggest these, me personally. So these are going in the trash. I showed you before that I have paintbrushes just in case, like maybe if I want to paint a background. I have used this before because it's kind of stiff. So if you want to stain, you could use that. I have my little opener, another brush. I have some rulers, a paint stick, like a stirring stick. This is what I use to secure my wood into the back of my frames. So I just kept these little 2 random pieces because you never know. I don't know. I just pinch a penny basically. On my gloves, like I said, all my extra sandpaper, and then in the back I just use this wire basket. I have all my rags. These are little clamps that I was going to use for a different project, and actually this was when I was trying to assemble my own frames, and I don't do that anymore. So I will actually never do that. I did it one time and that was a no-go for me. So I just kept them just as extra. This is another thing. I wanted to actually use these. These are like, what are they, Brillo pads I think they're called, but the stainless steel scrubber things. I saw that as a way to like distress wood. I've never used them before, but again, just extra, and then extra sandpaper. So as I was showing you earlier, or I was saying earlier, this like 100, well, medium. I thought it would say like 100 grit, but I'm assuming that's just what that means. But these come 6 sheets, so you can get this. Now you can also use an actual sander. I just prefer to use ripped up small pieces just because I can get into the cracks and crevices, and I just hand sand everything. Because another thing is I freaking hate the feeling of a sander. It vibrates so much, and I just it makes my hand like ah. So yeah, that's all I have. Oh yeah, and then back here is just extra stain. Sorry for the background noise, but what are you gonna do? This is just a satin stain. So these actually, I was going to show you too. This one is just a clear sealer stain. So yeah, I have another one back here. This is a satin finish though. And then just some extra wood. You can go to Home Depot and they sell samples, and you can get them cheaper. Some of them, I think, like I paid full price for this, and I want to, they're like $3 or $4. Or you can pay in here somewhere, like right here. They sell them for $1.50. And then they look like that, so it's just like a neutral color. So I just have all my extras right here in this bin. So yeah, and then all my stain, and then this is in another spot. But yeah, there you go, guys. And I wanted to note one more thing, is that I also got these on sale, $1 and $3. So this was just like a more wood color. And then this is a light antique white stain. But yeah, these were at freaking Walmart, back by the stain. So that's another option. I got these all at Lowe's, but make sure to check out Walmart. Because these are normally, does it say it on here? No, but they're normally like, I don't know, like, oh, right here, yeah. $5.97. So yeah, yay, no focus. But yeah, $5.97 normally, and for $3. So this one I'm assuming is the same because it's basically the same with, yeah. So yeah, check out Walmart. Sir, why are you always on the floor? Just want to record my video. And he's screaming at this duck. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so once the wood is all stained, I let it sit outside for 24 hours or maybe a little bit more, as long as it doesn't stink. That's basically what I go off of, so it doesn't make the house stink. So this one is already, as you can see, it's already sketched out. So now all I have to do, I choose to go over it with I use this Elmer's painter's pen with the round. I'll do a close-up so you guys can see since it won't zoom, but the round tip, so it's a little bit thicker, and then I also go over it with the acrylic paint. I paint over it with an actual paintbrush after that. So this one is plain, so the only other tools you'll need is, of course, a ruler just to space everything out, and then a tape measure because this is bigger than the actual ruler, so I'm going to need to do that just to make sure all my spacing is even. And then I choose to use a erasable colored pencil, so I use clearly a white one. Need an eraser, a sharpener, I have Hayden's Paw Patrol one, and I use this, just have scraps for my paint pen for afterwards. And then I have this for my paint, or you can just get like a little palette, and then of course your paintbrush. So since this is for like a K through 12 for pictures, I went ahead and spaced out. So before I had the wood cut, I figured out the size of a wallet size picture, and then I did, this is 39 inches across by 6, so I did 3 inches per number / letter, so that gave me enough space. So I marked all that out first, so those are what those little notches are. And then I went up 3, so that's what the notches are up here, just a little lightly scratched all the way across. And then the last little mark I made was right here, and this was completely right in the middle. So this was 19.5, so I knew exactly. But other than that, that's all I do to space things out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on the tripod and then show you guys how I do that in real time. Okay, so now that's all done, so now you can see just the little marks. This is all I did. Spacing is the hardest part for me, like getting everything even, so I've been trying to take just extra steps to make sure it looks a lot better. Just because when it's all, you can really tell once it's all painted on. So yeah, that's all you do, and then you get started on, I'm going to do the name real quick, and then start with doing the letter and then the actual numbers. And I did use a ruler to make sure that the lines were straighter. Obviously that didn't need a ruler, or this one, but I did use it for the straight lines. So yeah. So I wanted to show you guys how they come, like how you'll see them at the store. So this is the packaging of all of them. And then I also wanted to show you the different tips that they have. So they come here, this is a C, which is for chiseled, an F for fine, and then an M for medium, which is the round one that I showed you the close-up of. So these, again, there's the packaging if you want to take a quick screenshot. They're at Walmart. They're like $2-3 per pen, and then as you can see, they do have different colors. There's white ones, but there's a gold one. They have greens, blues, pinks, yellows, all that kinds of stuff. You can also order them off Amazon. And then here's another close-up. This is the fine. So it's just a little bit smaller than this one. Now when they do come new, there will not be any paint on the actual tip. So that's why I have this here. So, and even if they're not brand new, if I'm not just reopening one, when I go back to reuse one, my first step is to take the actual tip out, and then I just flip it over, just because the other side has already been soaking in the paint, so there will be more paint on that naturally. And then I just dot on here, and those are the dots that I just made, those 3, so you can see that the white is very, very white. I don't even know. So then I don't have to go over it over and over again. Again, I do paint over this, so this is just kind of the second step of my sketching, but I would rather it be white, so then when the painting goes over it, it's extra white, if that makes any kind of sense. So I just keep this aside. Clearly I've made a lot of dots, but yeah, so if you get a brand new one, you're just gonna like constantly, I'm not gonna do it because the paint will come out, but you're just gonna hit it over and over again, and especially if you have a different color, it'll be a plain, like a almost nudie colored tip, and then you'll see the paint kind of start to seep down. It's actually quite satisfying if you get a colored one and you can see it. With the white you can't see it as much, but you'll start to see the color show on the paper, like so. Okay, so I just showed the clip of me actually sketching this with the paint pen. Now you can see that I didn't follow the exact chalk, or not the chalk, but the colored pencil marks, which is nice because I can, if I didn't do it right with the colored pencil, I can go back and know what I wanted to adjust. And as I go, I can kind of go with the flow of my handwriting a little bit more. So you can make changes. I'll show you how you can just use an easy eraser to get the colored pencils off, because it is erasable. But sometimes it's a little bit stubborn, also depending on how hard you've pressed into your wood. So with that, I also use a tip that I've never told anybody before, but you can use nail polish removers. So that's an easy way. I'll get a Q-tip, especially with the stain, it's so simple, and it will come right off, so I can show you that way also. But there you go. So now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys me going through all the one letter and all the numbers. Okay, 2 things I wanted to note. 1, this is so bad, but this is another reason why I started, besides the fact that I wanted the letters and the numbers in all my paintings to be just really bright white. I do like the strokey look of painting, but it just looks different when you add acrylic paint. But anyways, this is really wonky and just bad. I'm gonna show it straight on. It's not the greatest. So when I go over with the paint pen, well, 2 options. I can take the nail polish remover, and that also works for this. I can take the nail polish remover and remove this and start all over, or I can just go ahead and paint over it, and then that'll fix it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the second option, but I just wanted to make note of that. And then the second thing is, well, let me just clip to another clip so I can show you this zoomed in. Okay, so I know you guys probably noticed that I was like pulling off on the tip. So because you're rubbing on wood and this fine tip marker, the little hairs kind of start to gather just because it's scraping on the wood. So I'll just, lightly go over it, and then you're all good as a note. But just keep that a note, because if it does start to get a little bit crazy, especially if you have more rough wood, then it will leave like little stray hairs aside, or little stray white marks you'll see, and it won't be as clean. So just make note of that, but it's an easy fix. Okay, so like I said, for removing the colored pencil lines, you can do two things. I have my acetone out here, so I just use, I'm trying to show you, and it's not even in the frame. Pure acetone. This was just Walmart anywhere, you know, that sells nail polish remover. And I grabbed some Q-tips, and then I also, of course, like I said already, an eraser. So I like to use the eraser, especially for around the paint pen that I just used, because the acetone will take off the paint pen, as I said just before with that 0 and the 10, that I could remove it that way. So even, see, because it's not really completely dry, I don't think, but so just don't want to be too rough. But it really doesn't matter because I'm going to paint over it anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But you can see it quickly just lifts. This was just an extra eraser, like that was sold separately. I don't know if it has any extra erasing powers, but it was a little bit more. It was like $3 for the eraser itself. Now, to show you really quick, you can also take your Q-tip and dip it in your acetone. And real simply, you can see here. It's like, this is super fast eraser. So that's definitely an easy way to go. Maybe it's easy. Just make sure it actually comes off. So there, see, it's gone. Just because obviously there's grooves in the wood because it's wood, so you want to make sure you get it all off. And it doesn't change the color of the stain at all, so it doesn't leave any marks. So those are my little tricks for removing my sketch marks, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll go to the next clip. Alright guys, so it's a new day. I'm coming back to start back on this board, and looking back at this wonky 0 for the 10 with the 11, it's too close, I don't like it, so I'm gonna go ahead and completely erase it with the nail polish remover like I showed you guys, and then I'm gonna make it smaller so there's a little bit more space. So I'm gonna not just paint over it like I had said originally, so I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into painting the actual acrylic paint on top. So I'm using this Americana Snow White, and I just have this as I showed in the beginning of the video, and I got my brush, and this is a liner brush. I don't know, really, it's just not too big, not too little, and it's pretty round at the tip, so it makes for good lettering stuff. Okay, so when it comes to calligraphy, basically, I guess it's called faux calligraphy, but you're gonna wanna make your downstrokes thicker, and then your upstrokes are gonna be the thinnest part. Well, that's your goal here. One more thing, it's not gonna be perfect, okay? So that's kind of like the cool thing about being homemade. Of course, you want all the letters to be perfect, but if you want a perfect sign, go to Kirkland's type of thing. This is homemade, and of course, that's not intended to be rude whatsoever. But it is homemade and you're not a robot. So give yourself some grace and know that every stroke, you know, and of course practice makes perfect, but every stroke, especially when you first begin, you're just gonna have to learn the pressure. It's much different than using a pen. So like I said, give yourself some grace, practice before you get into something huge. You can try multiple times before you actually commit to your final piece. So give yourself grace, give yourself time, give yourself some practice, and then criticize yourself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and letter this. Alright, so there you see that I did all the numbers off camera, but I did want to come back to this number 10 because I know some of you may notice that there's a little bit of a wash, like a white-ish kind of stain behind, but really it is just the sandpaper that was rubbed off. I normally don't ever use sandpaper like I did actually in this video, but I thought I'd include the clip anyways because I actually did do it that way. But the paint marker behind was not lifting as well as I thought it would with the nail polish remover. I do go to the nail polish remover specifically for this part. Like I can really go back and it will definitely take off the acrylic paint. But the marker, I've only ever used the nail polish remover to remove this painter's marker when it was just like little marks. So getting the complete residue of the zero off was a little bit hard. But it's good, it's fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now show you guys how I'm gonna attach the twine, and then I'm gonna include the little clips that I got for the pictures, and then I'm gonna go take this outside, and then I'm just gonna put a clear stain on top, and that will take this light discoloration, that will take care of that. So that is, I guess, the second way that you're gonna have to just fix your mistakes. But as you can see, and well, as you saw, you can fix it. So like I was saying, give yourself grace and know that, like, don't freak out, don't panic, don't just try and trash the whole piece of wood, because you can fix it, and it's really actually quite simple. So let's go to the twine, and then we're gonna move outside. Okay, so like I said, for this next step, you can really use anything that you want. You don't have to use like a burlap twine, like I guess not really burlap, but like a hemp twine like this. I'm just using this because this was what they used in the picture that my customer sent me. But this actually came with, if you go on Amazon, it was about $7 or $8, but it came with 100 feet of this. And then these are just little white clips, so it's 100 of these clips. And I like it because they're completely white, like even the springs are white. And I used to get light brown clips, so you can get a bunch of different, you can get colorful clips, you can get ones with little beads on them, you can get wood clips, you can, and then stain them or paint them whatever you want. I'm sure they have like literally any color that you can imagine. Just go on Amazon. But yeah, $7 or $8 for this, plus this came with it. So I'm just gonna flip the board over, and then we're gonna cut this to size, and then all I use is my hot glue gun. I just have this little teeny tiny one, so I have this heating up now that's melting on my table. So like I said, I'm gonna flip this over and show you guys how I do that. It's really super simple, but this is just the last finishing touches before I do the final stain, the clear coat on top, and then we will be completely done with this project. Okay, the board is now flipped over, and I have my twine cut to the size. One note that I just did want to tell you is, of course, well, for this project, I'm going to do the twine corner to corner. So you're not going to be able to see, obviously, the other corner because this is so long. But you can do it towards the center if you want more, if you don't have as many pictures. Obviously, this is a K through 12. So just saying, if you use this same concept with another project, just keep that in mind. You can adjust it to do something different. But my other thing that I wanted to say is that, so this, my twine is corner to corner. So as you can see, there's a little bit of slack between the wood and the actual twine. You don't want to make it too tight because you have to remember that you're doing pictures. And this is always something, this is why I like to do the hot glue, because if for, say down the line, because this is from K to 12, if you have too much slack and then you find that the pictures are a little bit too droopy, you can literally just peel the hot glue. Obviously it'll be cool by that time. You can just peel the hot glue and you could trim it down, and then you could re-hot glue it down, or wood glue, or really, but you could staple it down at that point once you got it correctly. But this is kind of just a guesstimate. Obviously I don't know because I don't have the pictures, all 13 pictures on hand. So I'm just kind of giving an idea. I'd rather have a little bit too much slack than not enough, just so they make, you know, my customer has enough. I'd rather they have too much than not enough, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to keep that little note. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this down and then add the little clips on. And the clips aren't all obviously going to stay in place. They are just going to kind of bumble, jeez, can I speak? They're going to jumble together and kind of like pile up in one spot because they just slide within the rope. But let me show you guys these last finishing touches. Okay, so we're back outside. Sorry again for the background noise, but you know, people gotta have their ACs on, and we're close to our neighbors. So I'm gonna apply, this is the protective finish for the, basically the sealant of this bad boy. So I went ahead and applied the little clips now and just kind of spaced them out. I'll give you guys a better view once it's got everything completely finished. I gotta just do the stain. I gotta apply a little sawtooth hanger, which I'm gonna apply of course in the middle, and then I gotta just sign my name, and then other than that it'll be all finished and good for you guys for the final reveal. Hold on one second, it's not focusing. Okay, much better. The last little tip that I wanted to say, or little note I guess, about the twine is that do keep in mind that if you make the twine, give it a little bit more slack, then it will take up more space on your wall. So if you have a tighter space, keep that in mind, or if you want to take up more space, keep that in mind. You obviously want to have the clips line up relatively well with the numbers so that, I mean, you obviously get the point of what the sign is for, but for, I guess, you know, visual purposes, you'd want it to follow the actual board. So this is actually a little bit more slack than I was thinking. I don't know where I went wrong really, but I'm human, so I think I might pull this back a little bit, peel off the hot glue. As I said, it's super simple, and then re-glue it so it's more so like this. I know this is not the greatest view, but it's more so like this rather than that. So just a little bit of a facelift here. But yeah, you guys can do whatever you want. Let it sag, let it hang low. I might even just send a picture to my customer and let her choose. She might like it like this. But yeah, get creative, you guys. You can do any color background, any color stain. Paint the background if you want. You know, do different fonts. Look up on Pinterest different fonts. Make your own font. You know, take a little from here, a little from there, and you know, do your own style. You can do different font colors. And, you know, all different kinds of stuff. Do the ribbon instead of the twine, or you can do the twine and maybe a thicker twine, and you can nail it in, do different colored clips. I mean, really, get, like I said, get creative, especially with us just like chilling at home. I'm sure you guys got some ideas that could go into the work. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the last finishing touches of the stain and the hanger and sign my autograph. And then, yeah, I'll be all done. I'll come back to you guys with the full reveal. So, peace.